Hello?
Hello, Christian Prince.
Yes, my friend.
Hello. This is Joseph Colden, Christian, and I left Islam. I converted to Islam. I have a YouTube channel. Finally got to speak to you. I've watched some of your content for a long time, and thank you to your work and others like David Wood. I did the research for myself. What you say in the Hadith, although you have an advantage, you speak full Arabic to me than me. It was absolutely fantastic, and I left Islam. I embraced the Lord Jesus Christ, and I pray that other Muslims listen to what you would say and absolutely believe it as well, and look it up in their own books. I owned the Hadith as well, so I just wanted to give you a quick call and encourage you and say God bless you for what you do.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit as long now Muslims calling. I mean, why you decide to leave Islam? What happened?
So, I think it was many things. I started to realize that when I was in the masjid and conversations after the khutbah or whatever it was that day were happening about Muhammad, they would read from a series of hadith. And I found these hadith very disturbing because I had converted to Islam. I had not grown up in the religion. And I found that often when Muhammad is portrayed in many of the hadiths, I found that I wouldn't do half of the stuff that he did myself. The marriage to Aisha was disturbing, but by no means was that the most disturbing thing. Some of the gross things as well, like Aisha washing stains off Muhammad's clothes, and just some of the weird stuff. I started to think, wow, the violence in Islam, and how at the time this is just I converted 14 years ago, say. Before the Islamic State and the Levant and all of that rose up.
How old you were when you converted to Islam?
18. I was
18.
18.
That's what happened. They target young ones. They fool them.
Yeah.
But can you start from the beginning, as long as we don't have any Abdul to challenge us? Can you tell me how they converted you to Islam?
Yeah. So I had met someone I worked with who was a surgeon, and I worked in the tools and instruments that provided instruments for surgery. And I began a friendship, and he had started to talk about Muhammad, and I'd been to university, and I knew a tiny bit about Islam, but not that much. And he had told me how Muhammad was foretold in the Bible, and he would give me verses like Deuteronomy 18, the very Zakir Naik type argument. But at the time, it was, I didn't know my Bible extremely well, so it was enough to start to get me to think about it. He invited me to the mosque, and he really ramped up the efforts, him and other Muslims at the time. And I was looking for something in my life. You've got to understand, people who convert to Islam are looking for something in all the wrong places. I had an extremely bad relationship. I hated women in effect, and I saw that in Islam the brothers would say in the masjid, "Oh, in Islam we can have 4 wives," and that's not why I converted, but it was definitely this what's the word, the overriding factor that in Islam men are dominant and women are meek and mild, and they serve men. It was kind of, I was lulled into it, and I really fell for it, to see that Islam had this pure book in Arabic that had never been tampered with, never been changed. It was a whole host of stories and things that they did that got me thinking, wow, everyone's a brother, everyone's an Aki, you're a brother in the deen together. You stand in line together and pray. There's no king, the king has to stand in line. It's sold as a package, and I really liked that at the time, being 18 years old, and thinking probably with the different parts of myself. And Muhammad sounded great. Muhammad sounded like a mercy to mankind.
How
You
he
know,
sounded like this? How he sounded like this for you?
they used to give hadith like
Hmm.
how Muhammad would feed water to a dog, and even though he's afraid of dogs, or
But Muhammad, he ordered
you
to
know
kill
the
the
type of
dogs.
hadith.
Guys, imagine, Muhammad, he said, if a woman, she gave water to the dog, she would go to heaven. But he is the one who ordered to kill the dogs.
Yeah, very, yeah. You know the type of hadith that they give to make Muhammad seem almost like an angel. You know, they really change who he is as a person. And what I've grown to believe is that actually they believe it. They believe it, and they make others believe it as well. They don't read Muhammad from what's in the pages of their own books. So I went and I met a Muslim girl, and we were very, very quickly put together to cement her. She was another convert, and I'm English, so she's another English convert. So they put us together thinking that we're going to have white Muslim children. They have this dream in the UK, at least, that they're going to convert everyone to al-Islam. They're going to convert everyone, and eventually Sharia will be the dominant force, the dominant political force in the country. And they start with winning people's minds and getting them in the faith. That girl now, she wears a niqab. Her mother speaks to me, but she doesn't speak to her own daughter because her daughter nearly joined ISIS. You know, I know people who I would speak to back in the day before ISIS was a big thing, that have gone to fight for the regime. So you tell me, is Islam peaceful? Well, why is it that everything, quite early on, your salvation is based entirely, the best salvation you can get is to die as a jihad. That's the only way that your sins will be taken care of. Is martyrdom. I think I became disillusioned, after so many years, to try and find this Muhammad that just did not exist. He's just not there. You want Muhammad to be like Jesus, and that's what Muslims think. He is like Jesus, but he's absolutely not a speck on his sandal. And I came to say that I know the true and living Christ. It took a long journey to get there, but yeah, I just became disillusioned. But the one thing that I'm sure of is Muslims believe what they say about Muhammad, and it's up to people like yourself and others now on YouTube doing this fantastic work to get them to see that it's not true. It's just simply not true, and to stop lying to themselves and see what's in the hadith. You speak Arabic, and I've seen Muslims themselves argue about the way you pronounce something. It's a tiny mispronunciation because they can't argue with what you bring, which is the truth about Muhammad. I learned that early on. I used to read the hadith, and my wife is a born Muslim. We had an Islamic marriage. We were married Islamically and all of that business. And she's born into the religion. And when she used to kind of look at my study notes, she started to see some weird stuff that I had wrote down, saying Muhammad Zainab, the issue of Zainab. He looked at her and he was lustful after her. In fact, I was debating one the other day. What was the guy? Honey, where the honey issue. I forgot it now. He looked at Zainab and thought, oh, she's quite nice. And a verse in the Quran comes down that gives him the justification for having Zainab as his wife. And Muslims will flat out deny that that's the reason that verse is in the Quran. And I always ask, well, what is the reason for that being in there, so that you know that if you ever get into a situation where you fancy your adopted son's wife, that it's halal for you to marry her? That's the only reason that God, in his divine word, gave that verse. He could have said any other thing like, don't kill each other, don't harm each other, you know, don't rob from people. But he decided to say, don't marry your adopted son's wife if you fancy her.
Yeah,
You know,
actually,
things like
even the tafsir says clearly that when Muhammad he went to his own son house, he flirted with the wife. He flirted with her while she is married in the house of the husband. He went to, you know, look at this filthy man. He been given permission because he is the father to enter into a house because he is the father, correct?
Yeah.
So it is not lawful for a Muslim to enter a house when the husband is not there. Muhammad, what he did, he took advantage. And look at the double standard of this filthy man. He claimed that Allah, he told him it's not right to adopt. So all this time Allah could not make a verse to say it's not right to adopt until he wanted to have sex with this woman. You know? And how many, I mean, and why even, like, you have many wives, why you want to have sex with this woman specifically? Why Allah want to give her to you? I mean, don't you have enough? What that
the hadith says that she was a beautiful woman.
Exactly.
Sayyad even says, oh, you know, marry her, I'll give it to you. You know, and Muslims will say, see how gentle Muhammad was. He said, keep your wife, keep your wife. You know, like it's some generous thing to do when he...
No, but hear the hypocrisy, because how you say to him, keep your wife, because Allah saying to him, you see, the verse in the Quran say clearly, Allah saying to him, why you say to him, keep your wife, when Allah told you that she is yours? So imagine, instead of Allah rebuking him, saying, shame on you, that you are a hypocrite. In the house of the man, you just flirt with the wife, and now you are saying to him, keep your wife. Which one is you? The one who want her, or the one who is saying keep? So the liar is claiming that nothing happened, that he did not go to the house, flirt with the wife, and the wife, she told him, she knew, but he want to look like he is a good guy. Keep your wife, man, keep your wife. But the filthy man, he just came from the house of the guy, and actually, this guy, he never asked to divorce his wife until his wife, she told him that your father was here and he flirted with me. And even the tafsir says فَفَطِنَ Zayd, which means Zayd, it's like in Arabic we say فَفَطِنَ, which means like he got it, you know, he got it, like suddenly, oh, bong, this guy, he want my wife. So he went there and he said to him, oh, please allow me to divorce her. And here you notice, a Muslim man, he do not need a permission from the Prophet to divorce his wife, correct?
Correct.
So why he is going to Muhammad asking for permission? Because Muhammad is still his father. Yeah. Correct?
Well, absolutely. He's he knows that Muhammad, when the Prophet of Islam wants something, he's going to get it, and he's wanting to please his father.
Exactly.
Muhammad caused the divorce. You know, it's there, and the issue that I was talking about with a Muslim the other day is when Muhammad was sleeping with Mary the Copt and in Hafsa's bed. He gave me a hadith that he said, oh, this is from Aisha, which said, the Quran, I'm sure it's Quran 61 or 60, I've not got the verse off the top of my head. He said, where it says about pleasing his wife, you seek to please your wife. You know, he gives this hadith where it says, oh,
chapter of At-Tahrim.
I've not got the verse to hand.
Verse number 1.
So he says, oh, you know, seek to please your wife. And the hadith that he gave was saying, Aisha says it was about honey. And I gave many of the hadith and evidence saying it's not about honey. This is about Muhammad sleeping with Mary the Copt in Hafsa's bed. Exactly. You know the verse that I'm talking about and the hadith that I'm referencing. Not very well, but I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, this is in their books. This is what their books saying, not us. We were not there. The only information we have about Muhammad is what Muslims says about Muhammad. And the second you quote for them what they themselves say about Muhammad, they refuse it.
They pick and choose which ones they want, which is why I
come to see my friend, okay, so you decide to leave Islam by yourself or somebody help you? to
No, I
understand
think
that this.
I did it. I did it by myself.
Okay, good. So what about your wife
My
now?
wife
Your wife, you said she is born as a Muslim, and
now she gave her life to the Lord Jesus,
I'm into
and
that.
we
Wonderful.
both are Christians. So yeah, it was a long road to kind of seeing the disillusionment with Muhammad, and seeing as well that many Muslims are actually sad. They're very, very sad. They have this Islam that's meant to be from heaven and perfect. It's, today your religion has been perfected for you, but really the religion is so far from perfect. It's obliterated the word perfect. It's not. It's horrible, and they're sad. And I used to see this in the mosque. Apart from, say, the jihadis that you used to get in the mosque, and every mosque has them, by the way. Especially here in the UK, the terrorist sympathizers that want to establish Sharia because, they're a bit crazy like that. You have a lot of people that are disillusioned with Islam and they're leaving in droves. It's weird. In the masjid, you used to try and find out how much the other Muslim believed what they were saying, and it was almost a competition to see who believed what they were saying, and many don't.
My friend,
From the UK,
people asking me,
my
friend, people asking me for your channel. So if you don't mind, when you finish, if you can post your name, I know you cannot post a link, but you can show us your name in YouTube so people can click and subscribe to your channel. Because there's many they like to subscribe to your channel, maybe, if you don't mind.
I just wanted to thank you and say your work and what you're doing online is fantastic. I've seen, so I just for a joke, me and my wife put on Fadi Responds, and we just sit there and have a chuckle at it, because it really is laughable, the fact that they can't deal with any of the real claims. And I used to go to the scholars, Sheikh Ajaz and other sheikhs, and ask them the questions that I would say find in the books, and I'd say, why is this in the Quran? Why is this there? They had no answers, and in fact they used to try and change the question that I had asked them, and then say that they'd answered it. And I thought, wow, even the scholars know it, but they just don't want to tell the people it. And they're the gatekeepers. They're the gatekeepers, because a Muslim will say, when he asks questions, he will say to you, go to the scholars, and you go to the scholars, and the scholars have no answers, and they can't keep people from leaving Islam. Praise God. And I hope we as Christians are willing to have them, because I come to realize how much I needed Jesus, and how much Jesus is the only one that can save, the only one that could ever save. It's my channel is just my name, Joseph, and then Joseph Colden, which is Coldon.
Okay.
So if you check that out.
If you can, just after you finish, just say hello. This is in the chat, and then they can click at your name and they can subscribe to your channel. Well, my friend, thank you very much for having you. I'm happy that you left Islam. I'm happy for our sister in Christ, your wife. I pray that the Lord will bless you and bless your family and protect you. And sometime the devil, he think he hunted one of our kids, but our kid, he went there, and now he's hunting the devil. And not only that, he is saving from the house of the devil many, as would happen to your wife. So let us use your experience. So young people at the age of 18, like when you were 18 yourself, they will not be hunted by the trap of the garbage of Muhammad, for this is a trap of the devil. So you need to help them, and you need to use and warn people about how they try to fool you, like they use videos about science, as we are showing, etc. But Islam is far away from science. Islam far away from dignity. Islam far away from peace. Islam far away from anything they claim. Actually, here we go. My Skype is open.
They use the science argument. I'll leave with the fact that they used to give me the books. I've kept every single one of them in my cupboard. I've got all of the books that I was given over the years. I've bought, just so that I can pull them out and say to people, this is what their books say, this is what they've tried to use, and this is how false it is. And how when they say science, the sperm is between this and or the world was round and things like that. It's garbage. It is absolute garbage. It's a fraud of a religion.
The fact the Quran says clearly the earth
yeah.
is flat. The earth is flat, and Muhammad, he made it clear that the sperm stay alive for 40 nights, 40 days, and I can show it right now. You know, we don't make things up. You see, they make things up, and they are, because they are following the devil. We don't.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's in front of us. He says that you are gathered inside your mother as a semen, excuse me, for 40 days. As a semen for 40 days. And then another 40 days for the same period as a piece of blood. And then for other, you know, Muslim, do you see it? This is your Muslim translation, but this is not mine. The creation of any one of you is this, that semen is collected in the womb of the mother for 40 nights. So let me introduce myself. I'm a Christian prince, and I was doing a tourist in my mother womb for 40 nights, watching TV and Amazon Prime. Because it was Corona time. I could not get out. What I can do? And I was a seaman at that time. 40 nights. I mean, who in the world want to believe in such a garbage? And if you say to them, do you agree with this? You say, no, brother, this is a weak hadith, but this is Sahih. This is Sahih Muslim. You know? So
they've tried it all, and I'll let you continue your live stream, but be encouraged that the work that you're doing is great, and people are seeing the disillusionment with Islam, and they need to look closer at Christ and see the truth that only He is. All right, brother, I'm gonna go.
Okay, thank you, my friend.
God bless.
Take care. Bye bye.
God bless.
Bye bye.